Welcome to Hatecast. In this podcast, we will explore one of the most intense human emotions, hate. Hate can appear in many different forms, both online and offline. We study hate in different contexts to better understand its harms, its roots, how it spreads, and most importantly, how to counter it. We will dive deep into conversations from a wide range of perspectives, from psychology to sociology, politics to legal, and criminology. Before we begin, a quick warning ahead. In this show, we will be discussing research on some sensitive topics such as hate crimes and online abuse. If at any point during this episode you feel uncomfortable, we encourage you to take a break or skip ahead to a different segment. If you are a survivor of hate or if you need any kind of support after listening to this episode, please head to the resources that we provide in the show notes. With that being said, let's dive in. So, hello, Rahman.
Hello, Soraya.
Hello. Thank you for speaking with us today in our Hatecast podcast.
I like this name, I told you. Let's talk about it.
Yes, let's dive deep into it.
Yes.
And welcome to whoever is joining us on the podcast.
Hello.
We are tuning in from Vienna, Austria.
Yes, 12th district.
Where Rahman Hakakir is a performance artist. He's Afghan Austrian and lives in Vienna and is based here, but has done artistic work and performances all across Europe. So Rahman John, what's going on in Austria? How are you getting on?
In Austria, in which context?
Are you enjoying the summer, the weather?
Yes, I'm enjoying the summer right now together with Soraya, my Afghan philosophical friend. And yes, I'm totally out of the art scene at the moment. Since more than eight months, I'm totally turned into a pro-Palestine activist, and I'm just trying to assist some people with some friends there. And yeah, nothing else.
Yeah. And when you say you are out of the art scene, because we're still looking into your art, you know,
Yes.
and reflecting on it. So what has happened in between that art is no longer the focus?
We spoke before in talks several times, and to make it short,
Yeah.
as I always said, most of the artists, of the contemporary artists of our time, are untalented obedience that I don't want to be longer be how's the word,
Affiliated.
I don't want to have to do anything to do with these people who are just value signaling, or even less, just spilling expensive paint on expensive canvas and calling this art. The last months revealed a lot about the world in general, and also about the so-called art world that I never liked, basically. I never felt comfortable with, because everybody almost pretends to speak about something with the work, but in fact it's just colorful, keeping your mouth shut to everything what happens. You know, there's the big saying, every art theoretically, they're even worse than artists, they're even more useless and more cowardish. But they will tell you all the time, art is communication. So I question myself and you guys, where the fuck is the communication in art when we look at the genocide going on in Palestine, and not since some October or May, but since 75 years, and everybody is pretending to play dumb, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody who has seen Winnetou, the movie, Old Shatterhand and his friend Winnetou fighting the pesky Europeans stealing the land should know exactly what's going on there, you know, and we have seen this as teenagers. So yes, and the art scene is silent. Of course, the whole beachy gallery and institution, you know, institutions are connected to the government. The governments are all pro-genocide and, you know, white occupation as always. Yes, and right now I always try to reach the minds and the intellect of my audience by hints and clues camouflaged in my work.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now we are at the point where we realize that people don't even understand you when you speak to them directly. Simple things it needs to be explained once, and they still don't understand it. So yeah, art right now makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very surprising to also see, because your artwork basically speaks so clearly for itself.
I
So
also thought so, but I didn't. I learned a lot about society and the mindset of the masses the last few months that I didn't know before. So my strategy was futile basically from the beginning. I basically overestimated the intellect of the masses and of the common individual. Sad to say, but it's what
yeah.
happened.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, obviously, we know that there is like a huge gap between the artist or the rest of community who are there, but they do not take the Palestine, the atrocities that are going on in Palestine into their work. I think this shows how huge the gap of information is, between people and the people such as artists who play an important part of this
Yes.
communication. So like I guess my question is that how do we make this gap smaller? How can we do that? Or how do you do that at the moment?
Yeah, the art scene, the so-called art scene, basically works like everything in this system, in this empire system structures work. As long you play the game, you can communicate. They let you, but as soon you communicate ongoings like genocide, atrocities, politics, then you are shadow banned as an artist, also in the institutions,
Yeah.
or you are invited to come to a show, but they want to pick a specific piece that has nothing to do, basically a distraction from the moment by reflecting on some old word from the past. In the same time, they try to appear, they put on some value signaling by, look, we are concerned about such social issues, but basically they just take something that's not relevant at the moment to cover something that's relevant. So you can choose. You just continue speaking, but you will not have the platform as an artist, because they silence you, like you as an individual user who posts about the truth and the ongoings on your TikTok or social media. It happens to you as an artist in the structures of the so-called art world and institutions also. So what could you do? What true artists always should do: just give a fuck. Don't play their game. Turn into an activist. Use your creativity. To get this information through and addressed to people. Find ways. Be a pain in the ass. Be rebellious. And right now, as I told you, I have almost no power in this art world to propagate something. So I speak as an activist, and I think that's very important.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
especially for a social artist, because you keep learning so much about individual behavior, strange reactions to things, strange just people who remain, for example, silent since 8 months in your circles, social media circles, who cannot even put a sad face on a wounded child since 8 months. And most of these people I was associated before on social media were from the art scene, artists, curators, all these love, peace, happiness, diversity proclaimers, and they're all gone,
Yeah.
all gone.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3 left of them, all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very good that you reflect on this. Rahman and I, we also attended a demonstration a couple of days ago for Palestine, and what appeared to me in people from people who are mobilizing in Austria is that these people, have a plan somehow. Like I saw that in the demonstration they stopped by, for example, McDonald's and Burger King and businesses that are affiliated with Israel,
Yes.
and saying the slogan of boycotting these certain companies. And I thought that was in itself
McDonald's
like,
bombardiert, McDonald's finanziert, Israel bombardiert. Means McDonald's is financing, Israel is bombing.
Yeah.
Slogans like this, or same with Starbucks or Burger King, of
yes.
course.
So I see this, as a type of, as you said, activism.
Yes.
That is important at the moment in this time of politics in our era.
Yes.
But we cannot ignore the role of bystanders. People who choose to do something about it, whether it's just by, I don't know, going to a demonstration or in other ways. And this scenario applies pretty much, to other things, as we spoke about it before in crowd psychology, and how people choose to join in some initiations and not in the other. So how can we solve, again, this issue of bystanders, like from your perspective? Because I see this clearly, in your art, where you try to bring in, the participant, engage them in your work, and really sense of like
self-reflection or experience. Yes. Yeah, this is the good question, because I'm still totally surprised about this enormous number of numb, indoctrinated, brainwashed, silent bystander mass. This is like, I realized that this is the kit in society that basically human evolution totally doesn't need. Fundamentalistic now, but I just mean these people don't contribute anything to human development or society. Basically, they eat from the beginning to end like a cow. A cow is even more useful. You can eat it, or milk it. You can not eat these people or milk them. But I realized this kit, this useless, always exists and it's meaningless. And you cannot turn them. They are like, it's psychologically, I cannot explain it myself. The only thing we talked yesterday about it that explains it a little bit is that the realization that the human species is a herd animal, basically. And there's this kid always there, part of the herd. Maybe they're just there to get eaten if a predator shows up and wants to eat some, to protect the more important or more clever ones that stand even more far away. I don't know what's the purpose is, but they never play any role in society or human development. They are just there. And they will always follow whatever the authority will tell them.
Yeah, so what
you cannot wake them up. Yeah. They are passive because they cannot do anything without an order from authority. They are indoctrinated like this, They are. It's their final status. You cannot. They are lost. Like religious books, like the Quran would say, these are lost people. And really, I thought at some point everybody would show empathy or something. But these people they just put their head into the sand and wait until somebody touches. Go on, move in this direction, I tell you. Really, it's amazing. And then you have the two, right now I told you it's like an biblical battle. I never thought it would happen in my lifetime between the good people and evil people. People with good humanic, social intentions, and fucking selfish, psychopathic assholes, employees by basically like the media, politicians. They're all the employees of these people. Yeah. And yes, who are these people?
Yeah. So what appears to me is, because in my studies I focus a lot on the charismatic leaders and charismatic leadership. So I see perhaps there is like an absence of, a good leadership, and I think this says a lot, like about the politics of like
Yeah,
what's going on.
there is no in the
Um,
West. If you talk specifically about the West, there is no good leadership left in the country. Where Europe and the whole West is, it's like killer clowns are governing everywhere. It's like, I tell you what I think here straight away. Europe is on the way. The West is going. We're witnessing the downfall of the West. And whose fault is it? Who was the enemy who did it? Not the Muslims, not the Russians, not the Chinese, not everybody, not the Iran, not North Korea. It's the Europeans and the West is doing this to itself. It's inflicting all this damage to itself. And it's caused by this so-called leadership, because just look at these people. Donald Trump, the clown. Biden, the demented clown. Boris Johnson, the British clown. What's the guy of this, the blonde guy, Wilders,
Yeah.
And all they can do, there are only two topics left for elections in the so-called West. Migration and climate protection. But now tell me, what does you or anybody of your friends help this political program, if it even is one, a real? What does it help you with your paying your bills, you getting your healthcare, getting your children dressed and fed, care about your family, get something for your tax money? They don't tell you they will improve your life. They will just tell you they will fuck the life of immigrants, or they will put some money in windmills. What the fuck? What? It doesn't help anybody. And in the same time, the oligarchs, the money, the people with the money, the 2 or 3% on the whole planet, they own just everything. And we ended up we must realize we never lived in a democracy. We live in a oligarch autocracy, basically like in the past, but without a single king who is the overlord boss, a Kaiser. No, it's the nobles again who own the land, the houses we live in, and we are just the how was it called?
The middle class, or
Not the slaves, the serfdom, serfdom people.
Yeah.
We stay at the same place, go to the same shitty job, get paid a little bit. We cannot build a house, we cannot buy land because it's owned by the other people, and we're just the idiots. And so, yeah, the problem is we need a revolution. And when we come back to this numb mass in between, if you look at all the revolutions that resulted in change, the numb mass always stood at home and did nothing. It was never all the people on the streets. It was always just the relevant people on the streets, and the idiots just sat at home and waited on the end of the story to adapt on it again for the next generations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the same time, everybody wants a peaceful life, like it's
This is the basic,
the life quality
but this is exactly what the system is fighting. It's fighting the universal wish from every human decent person on earth, what you just said, a peaceful life. And this is exactly what the system, the empire, doesn't want. It wants to exploit us. It wants to exploit you and me here in Europe, in America, the same way as much as possible, like the African people, the people in South America, and all the colonized suppressed people. They just want to take from us because they don't see us as people. The nobles with their serfdom slaves also didn't see them as people. They are property.
Yeah.
Servants. They live in an environment where people in uniforms are standing on almost each door hole and just waiting for them to opening them the door and to come and pour tea in their cups. Do you think they see people who work for them different than these people? They give them a little money, this is our wage, and then we feel free and democratic, we work the whole week, doing a shit job, didn't see our children, families.
Indeed, like we are definitely part of a bigger system.
And
but at the same time, I just want to bring this conversation back.
Yes, I wanted to complete the circle where we opened about Gaza, the genocide, everything, And the trick was so far to tell us Look, you're the privileged ones. You live in freedom. You have democracy. We are here to protect your human rights, your everything. But now we realize this is completely based on perception, because these human rights arguments, everything, only seems to apply to us, and I'm not even sure that it does when it comes hard on hard. They just give us the illusion, when you need it, you have human rights, but we haven't needed it yet to be proven. But all the people who need the human rights laws applied on them right now in Gaza or in Congo or in Africa, for them, when they need it, it never applies.
Yeah.
Are you sure it applies for you when you need it?
Yeah, I guess this also speaks
so.
to a big system of prejudice that functions this way, unfortunately. But at the same time, I personally believe in third spaces where people can flourish and bring a sense of inclusion and give an opportunity.
No, this is
to each other
always
to
was
speak.
always and is the most important thing, to bring people together, because this is exactly also what the system or the strategy of the system is, to divide people. So wherever you can or we can to communicate with each other as much diverse as possible, the more information we will get about the real world and the ongoings around us, and the better we will be prepared to, as a group and a community, to fight back against the indoctrination and the manipulation. Yes. It's the only way communication. That's why they also want to limit it with TikTok bans in the USA and maybe in Germany, This is exact, and we must fight against this by just meeting each other and talk to each other as much as possible.
Yes, indeed. And given the amount of misinformation, shadow ban, as you said, that exists...
They cannot shadow ban me and you when we say, okay, let's meet on this sofa and talk. Yes, let's use the freedom that we have, or at least have left, to fight back. This is what they hate most. People that depend on you on Facebook, you just call each other on the telephone, or meet on your favorite coffee place, or in the park.
Yeah.
This is what they hate most.
Yeah.
And if they shadow ban you, your friend shall post what you would have said in the same time. If they shadow ban your friend, his friend shall post for him what you two guys would have said in the same time.
I want to bring this discussion into the topic of religion. In this situation where a religion is a very dividing factor,
yes.
Easily manipulated among people, how can it be used for good?
Yes, I can answer this question. If you if you read religion, let's say the Bible, the Torah, and the Quran, fundamentally, radically, then you will end up in super hardcore socialism.
Yeah.
And really, it is. Forget communism. It's super capitalism compared to what the Quran says. The Quran says literally, don't staple your money. If you staple your money and don't feed the poor person that you can reach with your money instead, then you are fucked up already. And basically it's true. For what are we stapling our money when we know there's a person that is hungry or needs medicine, and we know we can reach him or her with our money that we staple? For what do we staple the fucking money? Is there something more from a humanistic perspective more important? Feed a child or a person, an old man, old woman, or buy something in the near future that I staple my money for, that I don't need yet, like the person needs the food. So religion, basically, if you are a hardcore fundamentalist, but in a good way, yeah, it would be the solution, basically.
Yes.
Just let's keep it very simple for the new age generation. Just imagine what would Jesus do? Just do it. What you basically, all the cliches that Jesus would, yes, do them, and we would have the best society. But on the other hand, I know the next question: what's the problem with that?
Yeah,
because
like according to the history, even some of the socialist systems, as we know, hasn't worked for our world order, for our peaceful life, and so forth. So and I think And this is again, what I explore in my research as well, that sticking to one religious book, is obviously not solution given the diversity of, our communities that we are
Oh,
surrounded with.
I can just say, uh, for a person that recently started to study the Quran again, I'm at the point again that the Ten Commandments of the Bible would be enough, basically, if you don't want to read much. So you don't even have to read all the books. Basically, that's what I mean with the fundamental source of the basic scriptures and the preachings. It's hardcore socialism. If you have money, give it away to poor people who don't have. This is the main source of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. And it repeats all over the Quran all the time. Do your prayings feed the poor? Do the prayings feed the poor? Whoever talks about cutting up or shorten hands or closes this, beards this, whatever shit, Okay, nice, but this is not the fundamental source of any religion. Any religion is hardcore socialism. And if somebody doesn't like the word socialism, it's hardcore caring as a family about each other and avoid dispute and violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When religion is utilized in politics,
this is the problem.
This is, where all of our problems basically it has started from. So like as the
like
new
art,
generation,
sorry,
as the generation that we ought to have a new approach by creating like new norms, perhaps, to not rely on much of what other people practiced in the past, but to take a new approach. How can we place religion, in this ideal setting?
I think I have a good answer on this good question. I saw in a video from a person who said the most important thing that we all must learn, who are able to, I'm not talking to the fucked up people that I referred before, they are lost, do whatever you want, get some popcorn, watch a silly movie, switch off this podcast, all the others keep listening. Okay. Yes, we must de-learn authority. All of us, we must all learn, everybody who is capable of it, and there's still a lot, and it's the relevant people, we must learn to not be a tribe element anymore from a herd. We cannot be a herd element anymore. Of course, we follow leaders, our chosen leaders, but we question everything. We question any order, any recommendation, any decision, any law, very suspiciously. If it's really like we don't accept it's the leader, it will be the best for everybody. We must de-learn authority. We must de-learn being a beta, not an alpha, and things like this. And in the same time, we must be organized and put the most competent people on the places that they can serve most the whole thing. You know what I mean? And this applies on all fields. Religion the same. The institutions may be good, but they can be very evil and manipulating also. If you want to keep it on the safe side, it's your personal thing. Take your holy book, whatever. It's between you and God or the scriptures, and keep it that way. And be critical if some plumber of God, a priest, a rabbi, or a mullah preaches you and tells you, listen, it's only me who can explain you certain things. Prepare yourself by own knowledge and be critical if somebody wants to tell you something that you haven't confirmed yourself. And as artists, it's exactly the same. Keep it personally. Your art and it has nothing to do if the gallerist likes you, if you earn less money. If it's about money as an artist, it's not a job for money. It's a as you said before, you have a role in society. When people cannot speak anymore or get censored, like right now, art is important to get through, like a special military unit that sneaks through the communication in another language, in a universal language, and delivers the truth and the message like this. And if you have a problem with this, you cannot do this because you must keep silent and deliver nothing because it's your job and you cannot pay your rent. Hey, art is not a job to pay your fucking rent. It's basically it has another purpose,
Yeah. Yeah.
So we must be individual leaders, everybody of us, basically. This is what we
Yes.
must learn.
Yeah, and this, exactly speaks to, seeing art as a point of communication, and how information and communication
Yes,
is um is power itself as well, in some ways.
yes, yes. When you have reached this point of look, being an artist for most artists is a game of survival, anyways. You cannot survive by just produce. Most artists cannot survive. Most good artists, especially, cannot survive by just selling their artworks. They have to work something else, anyways. So. Uh, you should feel privileged when you have a status, when you know how to survive without kissing any asses. You know how to survive because you're creative. You find your ways to pay your shit, everything. And this is a skill that you should be proud of. It's a privilege that you are. They cannot control you, basically, and there are not many people left in this system who they are uncontrollable elements. And then if you even have some basic artistic skills, and can put these two elements together, then you are so important. That's why I'm so mad and angry on all these cowards, of my so-called colleagues. But you know uh,
Yeah. Yes.
but true art, in the end, it's just a few, not so many, who help changing the world. It's never is the contemporary mainstream art scene. If you look back in history, what did they do? Nothing. The same like today.
Yeah. But this reminds me of, just speaking, that every individual should be their own leader,
Yes.
or find a way that they
Yes.
can stand their ground.
At least their own decision maker for their own decisions in every aspect. Not just trust anything, just confirm something and then make a decision as your own leader. Yes, basically you are right.
Yeah.
Of course, we
And
agree on more, let's not say more, but more expert leaders on their field when it comes to society building. But from reason, because we can make this decision for us. We can identify these people among us. We're not distracted by a poster with a Photoshop ugly idiot face on it with a party logo, with an empty phrase like I told you in Austria, the Greens, climate protection, exception mark. This is the statement. Okay, what's this?
yeah.
Says nothing. No plan, no call to action, nothing. Just a keyword for that. Yeah, playing the role.
Yeah.
We just spoke about Europe is going down, the West is going down because of this, and the system that allows the structures that give us only this, spectrum that we can act against it. Because what can we do? What can the Americans do at the next fucking elections? They can vote the one genocidal idiot Biden or the other genocidal idiot Trump, or the green anti. I don't even know Jill Stein, but I don't trust the Greens anymore in general. Look at the Greens in Germany, look at the Greens in Europe. Everywhere where they come, they are pro-war and pro-genocide, the Greens. And they, I don't know what happened. It's just a joke. We cannot fix it, The options the system gives us, the pseudo options to fix it, there are no options to fix it. We need a revolution. I'm sorry, we have to take away, it sounds so bloody, but we have just to take away all the cash and the money from the rich assholes and distribute it into the system for everybody. Yeah, and this is also what religion says. Exactly, because you asked me before. The Quran says, don't staple your money. What do these people? Let's help them to become religious people by helping them distributing all their shit to all the poor people.
Yeah.
This is what the planet needs. And that's why everybody is so. I was very skeptical about religion, old texts for a long time of my life, but recently I developed that the reason why it gets propagated so bad in these modern times, religion, it's old school, it's fundamental, it's anti-feminist, it's anti-gay, it's so evil, Religion is so bad, and the people are so stupid who are religious people. Basically, it's saying the 10 Commandments are stupid, and you should do everything in the contrary. And where are we then now? You see that the evil system is fighting good intentions, purely good intentions, by defaming it like it always does. The Palestinians are all Hamas and terrorists. They are not native people that get uh, uh, genocided by white colonizers, you know. All the Arabs, all the Muslims are terrorists, you know, but all the wars are happening on their turf, you know, and not in the white people attack the Arabs, but the Arabs are the terrorists.
Yeah, and I'm what exactly? I mean, there's so much to
No,
reflect on.
we have
Um,
to, we talked about this yesterday. Either the end solution or what we can do is this: we must keep speaking about it. We must connecting. Basically, at this point, it's not reaching more people anymore because I don't think at this whole process, you know, there are enough people involved. Those who are capable to be involved. Ignore this mass that we talked before, and they are everywhere. They are this young, educated generation in Africa. You have the same generation in South America. You have them in Asia. You have them everywhere. All the exploited nations and cultures on this planet who got exploited from the West, basically from the Europeans, the past decades or centuries, are now welling up. And there are only two ways. Basically, it's game over for the West already. The question is, how can we do the transition for the system? As those people who are aware while being part of the evil system, the exploitative system, by the way. Yeah, the only thing that we can do is basically assisting the downfall. I admit it, by just communicating how shitty and unrepairable it is, because it is. And while it goes down, constructing already a new system that we can have to replace the old shitty system. Because otherwise we will stand there without any plan when it's totally crashed. But before it totally crashed, it will not change. This is the problem. But it will crash soon, and the question is, do we want to be prepared? The good consciousness people of Europe and the West, or do we want to stay separated and unprepared? And this could be very dangerous in the transition phase, because then there could be dictatorship, fascism. But if we already know how to replace the empire system, the occupier, the colonizer structures, with a fair approach to the rest of the world and true democracy and transparency among ourselves and social behavior among ourselves, then I would rather the second option. I would choose the second option if we would. Yes. Sounds very bad, guys, but it's a good thing, because this was a house of cards anyway. If you remember at school, maybe some economic teacher already told you the whole setup of our economics is like how's it called? A pyramid game. Every expert would have told you this for generations almost. At some point it's game over, because it's not real economies. It's like printing dollars on paper and buying oil and gas for it.
Yeah.
It's like this literally.
Yeah, and I believe reflecting on the history, you know, pretty much tells the same story. That this is not new. This is something that has been going on for a very long time.
Always.
And our history is unfortunately repeating itself and creating, you know, continuous chain of hate in different forms and violence, just in a different location.
Yes.
Now.
Basically, what is, when we talk about the system, who is the system? It's the 3 or 5% who own everything, who always owned everything, who in the monarch times, you know, in the feudal times, it was the kings, and as we spoke before, now it's the rich people, basically. Because I wanted to say the whole system is always designed around them. And, you know, it always was. They only find other ways to use these people, like we're the people in the court of the king. We can eat from the golden plates a little bit, you know, we're near the king. We can sit on the green grass from the royal garden a little bit, But the other people, it's just because we're near of the king. If we would be on the place of the other people, we would be the fucked up people, Because the system is designed some servants who are benefiting, some slaves who get killed and slaughtered, like this. But the times have changed now, we have a different form of communication. Even when the shadow banners and stuff, we have stuff that was not there plenty of years ago,
Yeah.
But now it's here, and the system was not prepared for it. These rich people are not so intelligent. They are not creative. They always want to maintain the same mechanics. They are stuck in this. They cannot find a way for their own life to be happy without this. They think since generation they need this shit, this power trip, this exploitation. Who's better in exploiting people than the other one, and then they clap each other's shoulders. But now I think it's game over. There's something fundamentally happening right now in the mindset of global people. I talked to you in the past, some months ago. There was still Americans, there was Germans, there was Irish people, Afghans, Palestinians. And now, when you look at social media of people who are involved in the fight of the change, I'm only talking about these people when I refer to people because relevance, these people don't consider themselves anymore and their colleagues and the next person fighting shoulder on shoulder in the networks with them as some people from some nation. They are all considering themselves as the army of these people who are right now. It's not something they wait for. It's already ongoing. It's all we are now on a part of the global revolution, a stage that every revolution had. And yeah, let's see how it continues. But it's all, and these people they are global people. The Chinese person identifies him or herself the same with the Russian or the American person who fight this fight right now. And this is also cool because we're also learning nationalism and tribe. We learn, this is already what they spoke about. People become their own leaders. They find their own tribe. They find their own community leaders among these people they connect with. They choose their own people they want to follow, they want to trust, they want to work with. And this is already, global revolution is not just if somebody takes a gun and fires on the occupier. No, it's decolonizing the individual mindset, de-learning diversion that was put into us, becoming creative and identifying the enemy and sticking together. It's on so many levels, all over the planet. So basically, the revolution will not be televised. That's what was on these cool stickers all the time, and it was the fucking true. And we knew it already when it came up in a time when it was not ongoing yet, the revolution. So what are we complaining? I think every revolutionary has had been complaining about a sucker schmerk on some shadow ban in some form in France, in Africa, in Asia, everywhere, We just don't know it. Yes, I'm positive.
Yeah.
And put away the hate. Put away the hate. The only thing you should hate is the system and the oppressors and the filthy rich people. The only people you should address hate to. And yes, when your toilet is broken and it's a mess, then you can hate your toilet, okay? But don't hate each other, because this is the poison. The hate towards us, each other, is the poison of the system and the empire that keeps us divided. And every idiot knows the clever quote, the rule and divide.
Yeah.
Because basically we are all sitting in the same boat.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. There's two things that struck out to me. One is relearning, the
Yes.
relearning process.
Yes, a lot.
Which I think is
A lot.
quite significant, because we are not only relearning, but we are also approaching a new way at the same time.
Yes, for example.
And this in the concept of nationalism, as you said, that people are constructing their sense of identity, belonging,
Yes.
and choosing that and vouching for that. So My question, I suppose, is can nationalism at this stage be any good? I understand that we spoke about it in a new way, where countries come together and say no to war, any war in any place on earth. This is one way of uniting, but our history says a different thing, because nationalism has been understood in the wrong ways as well. So what are some of the things that we need to keep in mind that this nationalism stays inclusive, it stays full of diversity, and equal rights?
Basically, have you heard how BRICS formulated their philosophy for the future of the planet? They Google it and include the sound file here or something. Because I don't know exactly the words, but basically they said something about mutual respect, mutual benefit, mutual whatever. Everything, different cultures, different forms of society, maybe even government, all the diversity together, but the plan is that everybody benefits from each other as much as possible. They formulated it very good. I could not repeat it or freestyle it myself better. You should look for it. And so in this way, nationalism could be cool, that everybody, and also in another way, nationalism in general I don't like, because I don't like border thinking in general, because we are just one tribe, and why is a starving child in Africa not my concern, because there are some borders between Africa and Austria, but a starving child in Austria, as my government and my society tells me, should be my concern. But why isn't it the African child? Because there are some lines on the globe or on a map. This is ridiculous, But if we have borders, we have nationalism, so what are the current good aspects from it? Then I could answer very easy: pan-Arabism, for example, because getting rid of all these, first of these borders that were not created by the people who now use these borders, but were created by colonizing nations who just were marking their turf. This is French turf, this is British turf, this is Belgium turf, this is German turf. Like a garden for small gardeners, This is my small garden, this is how the Europeans did with whole Africa, There is no borders, there's no nations that had been in Africa before the occupier, their new owners came, They created them, so get rid of this shit. It's unnaturally. So if somebody, like the young generation in Africa now propagates a lot of them and are fully supported and united Africa, let's call it like this, just one Africa with all the resources, with all the countries as like provinces, then nationalism is a good thing. Or pan-Arabism.
Yeah.
Yes, the same, because Saudi Arabia, as we talked, Jordan and the Emirates, these are entities just only created for the Israel settler project. It was also after the First World War, when they took away the Arab regions from the Ottoman Empire out of the sphere. They promised the Arabs, when they fight with them against the Turks, the Ottomans, they will enjoy an Arabian state, one state, because all these Arabs there are basically one people, like Palestinians are Saudis, or all of this, like naturally, like in Africa, the same colonizer created situation. But also, of course, not only for the creation of the Israel project, but also for keeping the Arab nations in the region divided. So as long they fight about their given turf, like stupid dogs, and they are part of the garden, nobody questions, why am I on a fucking lash anyway,
Yeah.
So I am totally promoting nationalism, like Arabism, Africanism, Europeanism, because it's at least a start to get rid of borders,
Yeah.
And we can go in the right direction. There's just one planet and no border. The only border is the horizon. How poetic.
Yeah.
Not even that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much
Well,
for
thank you for having me and letting me talk so much again.
and some of the practicality of like what we can do, as individual and beings here. Um, is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Um, yes, if you want to help orphan children in a tent school in a refugee camp in Deir al-Balah in the center of Gaza, contact Soraya, give me the contacts. We need urgently more donators for paper, pens, a lot of little things. Yes, just contact Soraya Jan.
Yes, I will provide a link in the description of
Yes,
this
thank you.
podcast. And bye for now.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.